Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel.
Welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel.
Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. Today, I'm in a hole.
We're here in the small town of Jordan, Minnesota, about 45 minutes southwest of Minneapolis. If you follow my sandland tunneling videos, you've heard me refer to the rock we're digging through as Jordan sandstone. This bedrock is made up of fossilized beach sand from the Cambrian period, about 500 million years ago. The name actually comes from the town of Jordan, which has extensive sandstone outcroppings along the Minnesota River. Early settlers discovered that this sandstone was ideal for tunneling as it's easy to carve but retains its strength when shaped into an arched tunnel. Breweries were especially fond of sandstone since they could dig out caves that stayed a constant 55 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Old breweries and sandstone brewery caves are found all over southern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. One of the most prominent buildings in Jordan is this large stone brewery, started in 1863. While the building no longer produces beer, the recent legalization of cannabis has opened up some new business opportunities here. The current owner is Strains of the Earth, offering THC and CBD products and accessories. They're very enthusiastic about the history of the site, and they've painstakingly renovated the historic caves. They were generous enough to let us explore, including allowing us into some normally off-limits areas. We did sign a liability waiver, much like Sandland, and we brought all our own safety gear along.
My name is Callie Kaufman, and I am the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer for Strains of the Earth. We are located here in Jordan, Minnesota. We also have a location in Carver, but Jordan has our Jordan Historic Caves. The building itself, construction started in 1863, completed in 1866. A lot of the stone that you actually see in our building was taken from our caves. It's a man-made cave. Everything, when you go in there, it's all carved out. You can see the tool marks and everything. Very pleased to be in this building. It's been many things before. It started off as Jordan Brewery, the Jordan Brewery. They operated for quite a few years. They even operated during Prohibition, which we think is very, fun. Yeah, it was the Jordan Brewery, then Hilgers and Schultz took over. And Cato Brewery was also an owner for a period of time. It's been a place to store ambulances, the Jordan Independent. You can get livestock here. And then now it is our retail space for our dispensary and our natural remedies space, things like that. The building has seen a lot of different changes. We've had floods, we've had fires, we've had landslides. So this building has endured a lot. Our owner Jim acquired the building, or at least his first space in this building in 2020. And from there he expanded. We just kept, accumulating one spot after the other and working to restore this beautiful space. It needed a lot of love. And Jim thankfully gave it a lot of love and a lot of time. We've worked with a lot of different contractors, a lot of different specialists. We've worked with the Historical Society, the City of Jordan, to make sure that we're maintaining its historical significance while also giving it the facelift it deserves. But this building was still active during Prohibition when everybody else shut down in the nation. Hilgers and Schultz, or the Jordan Brewery, they continued to brew. So they actually used the caves to not only hide their barrels, things like that, but to also, run those barrels to other folks who are interested in continuing, rum running. So we actually have a couple of tunnels down there that have been shut down by the city now, but back in the day, they used to, send the barrels down the water that used to be in the caves. Someone would pick it up on the other end of the hill and they'd take it to wherever it was being distributed. A few blocks from us, there's actually an inn. They're very, very nice folks, love to talk to people. They've actually told us before that they used to have mobsters and gangsters stay there, and then the caves used to be connected to the inns. They would go downstairs, go through the caves, grab their beer, and then come back up through the inn, and no one would be none the wiser. I love the history of the building, I love the caves, and I love the people who work here. They make it very, very fun. We actually had a landslide in 2014. It took out the back half of the building and it actually collapsed the entrance to the caves here. Thankfully the caves themselves weren't affected, but the entrance definitely was. So what they did is they actually had to bring in a giant backhoe in here. They dug everything back out and they actually put a grain silo here. So that kind of bumped up the entrance, gave it the support that it needed, and now it's our entrance to our caves. You can also see alongside it and stuff, this is about 10 years old now as we're taping this, but you can see the watermarks going along there, and that's actually how high the water used to get in here. You can see the watermarks throughout the caves as well, but that's a good indicator of just how much water flows through here. We installed some sump pumps now, so everything is a lot more accessible, a lot less wet, but it is still a little slippery in places. But now, pumps out all that water. All that water actually gets taken through this little section here, and then it actually gets drained out on the other side of the hills. This makes it so that, we're up above water. You don't need, rain boots and a wetsuit to come in here anymore. No need for floaties. But we're very, very excited. We've got that 300 feet of cedar in here. It's all treated, so it's all good to go. We've got some lovely railings in here to make it nice and safe for folks, in addition to our lighting. None of this was in here before. It was filled with mud and water. It was very smelly, I'm not gonna lie. So it was very nice when we, took a few weeks to, dig everything out. We were very thankful to see that there was actually a poured concrete floor in here that somebody previously installed for us, so thank you to those guys. But that gave us the perfect base to put down all this wood, elevate us, and give a nice proper walking path for folks who want to come and visit. It's a safer thing, safer for kids, folks in wheelchairs who are, maybe not as mobile. One of the fun things that I like to point out is not only just the carvings, but also the different sections that are here in the cave. Over here is one of the first sections that they started digging out. But yeah, this was one of the walls that the city had them, seal off. This tunnel, go all the way to the other side of our hill, past, the mayor's mansion. That's next to us, and that's where people would, grab their barrels. We do have a lot of natural ventilation, thankfully, in our caves. This is actually one of the portions where you can get some of that natural ventilation. This goes up and then kind of over, and it opens up into another portion of cave. This is actually where a lot of the water does come in addition to, from our ceiling and from other portions of the wall. But this allows us to, we don't have to worry about fresh air getting in here. We don't have to worry about, stagnant air. We got a lot of nice fresh air in here now. Yeah, so that's a fun one and stuff that I like pointing out just because it does have a full date that you can see. Some of the other ones, it's not quite as legible. We do have AP over here. So we've got a couple. We also have, some more modern graffiti up over here. Greg has decided to leave his mark. So yeah, this one is Jake. Oh, don't know how I would say that last name. But you could get in through the inn, you could get in through some of the other side tunnels, things like that. But yeah, that section right over there used to lead to the inn, and the city did have that one shut down and sealed off.
So this is the little utility tunnel where they drain their water out. And this follows the back of the bluff over to the old abandoned mansion. This is really cool. This is actually like river bottom rock in the ceiling. So it breaks through from the regular Jordan sandstone that we're in here up into this crazy river gravel. That is really neat. Also a little sketchy. Curving back out towards the bluff, and I suspect that we are going to run out of tunnel here in a minute. Yep, I'm pretty sure we have run out of utility tunnel. Well, they did say there was a landslide and a collapse, so this tunnel has definitely collapsed where it goes up to the outside. So here's the outside end of that utility tunnel before it collapsed in the middle. This is what it looked like. This is what it looked like from outside. This part is a little muddy still. We have that utility tunnel that comes out here. And then this is the bricked up section that's supposed to go over to the inn, I think. And then there's this collapsed section that probably goes back towards the brewery building. Very nice of them to let us come in here and just track mud all over their nice cedar flooring. All right, so at the end of this cave passage, we have that little utility tunnel that's been going along the wall, pops out here, and then it goes up through the ceiling, this little kind of square hole, and we've been told there's more cave up there, so we're going to see if we can get up there. This is also where all the spring water comes down, and this is one of the ventilation holes, so fresh air comes through here. So we've been given permission to squeeze up there and take a look, so I guess I'm going to give it a shot and get wet. This feels so illegal, but they gave us permission and we signed a waiver, so... Let's see if I can get up there. Oh, it's so squidgy up here. Okay, so it does go to a little more cave. It's all pretty stoopy. It's some kind of a crawl tunnel. A little bit collapsy, and then there's a beautiful but disgusting pool of water that has to be kind of crawled through. All right, so I'm up in that upper level cave or spring tunnel, and just using my phone here because I don't want to risk the good camera. This is kind of, honestly kind of gross up here. I'll spin this around so you can see what I'm walking through or crawling through in this case. It's kind of sludgy. It definitely has a sulfur odor, and there's definitely kind of gooey in here. And the ceiling is more of this stream bed sediment. It is definitely coming out of the realm of sandstone and into the realm of sand. So you can see big chunks of it have fallen on the floor here. This is not what we think about when we talk about sandstone being stable and self-supporting. This is a little sketchier. This is the pool that I need to crawl through. I don't know if you can tell, there's kind of an iridescent green, blue-green skin on it, which looks gross, but also cool. And then there's more cave. So, mystery deep cave pool, definitely over my boots. So I have wet feet now. I'll have to flip this around, but that really keeps going a long way. And this actually goes a significant distance. All right, and then it is clogged. It is the end, at least for me. There's a little bit of airflow, so this goes somewhere, but I cannot fit through that crack, so that is as far as I can get. Oh, look, it's the same shot we got earlier on the other camera, except I'm more coated in dirt now. So there we have a hole in the wall ceiling. That's where a big rock has fallen out. This is all just that river bottom. You can see the sediment here, sediment layers of the body of water that all this was originally under. And then, yeah, we are definitely no longer in sandstone. We are in barely solidified mud and ocean bottom sediment or sea bottom, lake bottom, some kind of water body sedimentation that they tunneled through back in the day. Let's see if we can get the traverse here through this pond. Oh, it's the wrong amount of crouching and waiting. I'm gonna drop my phone in the water. Okay, now I gotta get back down that little hole. Oh, and I've stirred up all the mud and the sulfur smell, so it's even stinkier coming back down. I'm filthy. That was quite a hole. Muddy. I went up the ceiling and it's muddy.
Yeah, was it cool in there?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, something else.
Yeah. This is ruins of an older building that burned down, and fairly deep water, but I'm already pretty soaked from that other crawl, so might as well send it. Perhaps I will hold my car keys out of the water this time. Whoa. Now I've stirred everything up and I can't see what I'm stepping on. Okay. Something just like slammed into my foot. There's like a turtle in here or something. Angry turtle. Well, as if I weren't wet enough after the last one, now we've just gotten better.
Dump out your boots.
What's that?
Dump out your boots.
Oh, just dump them in my pant leg. Again, huge thanks to Callie and everyone at Strains of the Earth for letting us come down here, poke around, muddy up their beautiful building, muddy up their beautiful caves, and these really are beautiful caves. They have done a fantastic job of restoring this property, restoring these caves, making them accessible, making them open to the general public. This is extremely rare. In Minnesota, it is much more common for cave owners, city and state governments to just bulldoze caves completely, try to forget they exist, keep people out, and destroy parts of our industrial and brewing heritage. I think that's really sad, and I think it's really cool that Strains of the Earth and the owners and staff have been able to restore and preserve these caves and let people really enjoy them, let people see what brewing was like back in the late 1800s, the early 1900s, and see this really special part of Midwestern history. If you'd like to visit Strains of the Earth yourself, either to experience their caves or some of their products, I will throw a link down in the description below. If anyone out there knows of an interesting cave or tunnel that we can check out, please throw it in the comments. I am always interested in those. And of course, we're also digging our own caves and tunnels out at Sandland. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, check out my other videos on this channel relating to Sandland and the projects out there. I hope everyone has enjoyed this deep, wet, muddy dive into Minnesota history as much as I have. Stay tuned to see what other strange holes we find ourselves in, and check out some of my older videos for previous cave and brewery tunnel explorations. If you'd like to support videos like this, I have a Patreon page as well as YouTube membership, and those always help with travel costs, equipment costs, and of course the massive laundry bill that I rack up from destroying all my clothing like this. Thanks again to everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time. And a drip of water just went down my butt crack. And wow, there is a literal stream running down my butt. I think I might be done with this hole.